We are talking about advanced medium combat aircraft. And this aircraft has been in the making, if you allow me to say, since 2009, when it was conceptualized by ADA, our Aeronautical Development Agency. So we wanted to pitch our own fifth generation aircraft because the whole world was buzzing with this, and now F-35 and J-35A and Su-57 are already in the sky and they're going around. So the idea that, yes, we must expedite is absolutely apt and very contemporary and very important. But the question remains, the timelines which have come forward, despite our defense ministers giving the approval and releasing the funds, is something which is, I don't think, acceptable to nation as such, or in particular to the Indian Air Force. Because 2035 is really far away. If you are going to have a stealth aircraft by then, the technology will further leap forward, and probably everyone will have sixth generation aircraft, and we'll still be talking about fifth generation, and we'll be stuck in a kind of, I would say, vicious loop. So is there a way out? Is there a way out which we can really put forward to the nation and say, yes, we can do it? If you really ask this question to me, I'll give some examples thereof. We can do it. It's a national commitment. It has to be a national mission. It has to be accordingly structured in our organization for us to succeed to go to 2030, because today we are not in the same state as we were when we started with LCA program, which is Tejas. So taking a cue from there that we took so many years and now will still take so many years is not a right thing in today's context. Secondly, we are now fourth largest economy. We can commit money to it, and we have the political will, I guess so. Because if it is coming forward so much, and we have this Op Sindoor behind us, which has given us an impetus, and we also have J-35A being committed to Pakistan at discounted rate by our adversary and prime adversary, China. So, as a nation, we need to think about it and pour all our resources, managerial, engineering resources, structural resources, to ensure that it gets going by 2030, not 2035. In between, there's an era of 5 years. I guess we'll be pushed hard to do something in this gap, if we fill that, if the great if is there. So in those 5 years, we have to manage with numbers, because numbers also have their own quality. Numbers, techniques, procedures, processes, tactics. And our operational tactics and our operational methods of fighting a war has already been shown to one of the adversary that we could do better. We have other unknown systems which are not so visible to the national citizens. The basic being the space assets which we have, the IW assets which we have, the EW assets which we have, and then our own IACCS, which has been talked about a lot, and Akash Tir. So with these systems in place, and with 4.5 generation aircraft, and with our own processes, procedures, and tactics and this thing, probably we can effectively and efficiently manage the gap period while we wait for it. You'll ask me one question, why I'm not bidding for F-35? I don't stand bidding for F-35 because, as we know, government of US, they'll come out with n number of strings which will attach to utilization, exploitation of F-35, apart from it being very, very costly for our kind of context, and not still being Aatmanirbhar or indigenous, is going to be a hang on you for generations to come and decades to come. So the idea is F-35 we have to manage diplomatically while not taking, and still, and if you go for Su-57, we were able to get rid of CATSA, Countering America's Adversaries Sanction Act, for S-400. If Su-57 comes, I don't know what will be the dynamics of that. So that will hang over your head. So idea being your own aircraft, your own this thing, with the help of friends and allies in the beginning, like it has been planned that the Mark 1 will be with GE's F414 engines. Then Mark 2 will be with our own engines developed in-house with the help of one of the partners, international partners. I think that's some track we can take, and that is the track we should take. That's my strong opinion, that we must go for our own advanced medium combat aircraft, which has all the features of fifth generation. So now the question is, are we ready? The simple answer is no, we are not ready. But can we do it? The answer is yes. So what do we do to do it? Let's ponder over that question, and let's take a some kind of example from the leaf of F-35. F-35 was started in 1996, and the orders were placed by US government on Lockheed Martin and Boeing together, giving them $750 million and telling them not to spend a penny from their own funds and prepare 2 aircraft which will compete, and then they will choose with the features they have already given out. In 2001, they came out with design in which Lockheed Martin was able to win the bid, and they went ahead with that. So we cannot follow that model, because in our case, there are no 2 private sectors which are fully developed and making combat aircraft. But we have done the same thing greenfield in case of BrahMos, wherein the Russian government and Indian government combined together, formed a company, and this company was a private limited company. Please note, it was a private limited company. So it had certain powers and agility. In the case of space, where we have done well, the ISRO, the final meeting is chaired by Prime Minister of India, and they derive their all powers from there. These 2 are our success stories. And F-35 success story I told you. So the idea being, we cannot follow that totally, but we can imitate to a certain extent. We cannot follow BrahMos also totally, but we can imitate to a certain extent. And we can imitate what has happened in ISRO to some extent, and make an organization which is in mission mode and is only dedicated to 2 things. Firstly, the aircraft, and secondly, the engine which will be required for the aircraft which are going to be made as Mark II beyond the initial requirement of 36 or 40. So if we focus on that, we essentially need 2 things. The first thing is, what is that organization which can deliver it? The organization which can deliver it has to be under the, I would say, the blessing or the command and control, or the being headed by the Prime Minister of the country. Because it would be something like a CCS kind of structure, wherein Finance Ministry, Home Ministry, External Affairs Ministry, and the Defense Ministry, all of them combine their prowess together. Because this is not a company's, I would say, output, or company's objective or aim. This is a national goal to have a 5th generation aircraft which is your own and indigenous. We can create, we now have, coming back to the answer, we now have big companies and small companies. Big companies like L&T, like Tata's, like Bell, like Godrej, like Bharat Forge, and so many others who are in the segment, who are helping for the defense development. These companies can come together and put their prowess behind it. And when they put their prowess, in my understanding, if it becomes a special purpose vehicle, which is steered by ADA, because the money is coming to them, but we can, since this structure is going to a private entity like BrahMos, it can hire talent, skills, and it can hire very fast and quickly. Second thing, it can collaborate with foreign partners very quickly, because the Indian, if we go by the government rules and regulations, will fall short of time. We need a lot of time to make the processes really good in that sense and follow the processes. They are really cumbersome in terms of time. They are always holding your hands from doing something very quickly and be selective. Private sector can do this. I can give a number of examples, but I don't think that's the time. The idea being, the structure is going to govern the agility and the speed of delivery. So a special purpose vehicle, which is of public sector and private sector in place, can do this job. The answer to Western world is not going to share the technology with us. this is for sure. Nobody shares the technology. Particularly, nobody will share with you the software and the electronics of it. So, and all your technology resides in the line replaceable units, LRUs. And all your technology resides in the blades in terms of engines. That's a crystal blade technology. So they are not going to share. You need to have at low-level partners at various levels. Private sector can do to a degree, but you have to develop your own technology. In that harnessing, as we stand today, we are not as bad off. We can hack it. So it's not something which is not there. We can always get, either government can get it, the public sector, or the private sector can get it through its own collaborations. That's why I said a SPV which is formed, which is private sector in nature like BrahMos, can do wonders than a government entity which is to follow all processes and procedures to hire talents or to get collaborations. So that's why the proposition is for SPV. And if we do that, we'll be able to get the technology. A lot of it we have our own and which can be done. Let's say I'll take the example of ISA radar. ISA radar, that is active electronically scanned radar, array radar, it hinges on the technology of MMIC, monolithic microwave integrated circuit, and that we have developed our own in our own DRDO labs. You want to have some aluminum alloys and all that. DMRL is working over it, and we have that, and for the time being, we can take at the materials level. So that's what I was coming to. Manufacturing process will include, you need certain materials like titanium and aluminum alloys and all that. Then next level, you need components. Somebody has to make brackets, screws, nuts, bolts, etc. for the aircraft. They're of different type. Thereafter, you need what we call line replaceable units, some small parts which you can replace in the aircraft quickly. All those people who are from aeronautics know about it. There'll be fuel pumps or hydraulic pump or your avionics units or radar units. All those things will come in play. Then you make major assembly with that. That means you make the full radar and the full, some big part of the engine and full, cockpit instruments. So they come in play. Thereafter, it comes pre-FAR level, that is pre-final assembly level, where you made major assemblies. The cockpit shell you make the engine nacelle, you go for the internal wiring, cabling, and all those things come in play. And then the aircraft finally gets assembled at final assembly level. So all these levels are there. You have people who can work at all these levels. For final assembly level, of course, HL will come in play. Then you can put L&T, people like L&T or TSL in play. They are already there. For your pre-FAL assembly level, you can put many other vendors who are there, like Godrej, like Data Pattern, like Alpha Design. They're all theirs. Then you come at the component level, you'll have Aquas there, and there are a lot of. See, Pranav, you'll need nearly, big and small, nearly 700 plus, partners. I will not call them vendors. I'll call them partners to really kick it off and do it very well. So what I'm trying to propose here, that when you go at that level, each person for his own component, for his own module, for his own small little thing will partner. Either he'll have the competency, which is coming from a design from ADA, or if he feels something is deficient over there, then he partners with the relevant partner in the international market. And if you go in this divided fashion, you can do it very fast, you can do it quickly, and so many arms will become active. And that's how you crunch the time. And then you go to the final assembly level. So final assembly level will happen, of course, under the aegis of government supervision, under the aegis of some public sector, or some private sector, which is like Lockheed Martin or Boeing, which has a lot of control mechanisms which we now have. And then it goes, because the fighter aircraft of 5th generation cannot be left in the hands of some loose hands. And let me also bring it forward that today we have the mechanism of controlling the partners who are producing for critical programs, even today. So there is no problem of process and procedure with the government. They can be put in place for anybody who's working in this segment. So in all, there may be nearly 700 partners will come in play. And if they pushed forward, and the oversight is by that structure which I told you, something like CCS kind of structure, headed by the Prime Minister. So if there is any hold-up, that can be removed immediately, whether it's a funds hold-up, or it's a process hold-up, or it's an interministerial kind of hold-up. It can be done very fast. So viewing that, what my last, I would say, proposition is that we ought to do this as a national endeavor, in mission mode, under the oversight of the head of the government.